Hey everybody, and welcome. It's Get Your Geek On here with a special edition of Talking Geek. Actually, since Sunday was Father's Day, we didn't really get to record, spend time with the family. Hopefully, y'all were as well. I am your host, Aaron. I'm here with the digital version of Robert, since he's not
Hey
next to me.
everybody!
So we're not doing all
The
of our
digital
segments.
version smells better than the
Oh,
in-person
oh,
version. I'm talking about myself. I wasn't
oh!
throwing shade at you.
I thought you were throwing shade at me, and okay, well,
I mean, I do normally do that, but
I'm just used to it. I'm already defensive,
I've conditioned you appropriately.
Exactly. So I'm already there. But so this week, guys, we're just gonna kind of do a little news segment, kind of like what we used to do. But none of the other segments are gonna be here. But next week, everything will be back to normal. Nothing's
Yeah,
going on. I think next week, nothing. No holidays. No.
I don't think so. We're just gonna do a few news stories, and then we're gonna have one. We did get one question that's kind of Father's Day related from one of our listeners, so we wanted to answer that one too. So.
Well, cool. Well, I guess we could start off with some bad news with the celebrities. And we know I can't pronounce any names at all, so we'll let Robert do that.
Yeah, this one's a really hard one. Yeah, Ian Holm, who of course famously played um, Bilbo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He was also in Alien, and was a famous actor. I mean, he's in a bunch of stuff. And if you have never seen Alien, I don't want to spoil, his role in it. But it's he's a fantastic actor. Obviously, will be missed. I think he is 81, I believe,
Yeah.
at the time of his passing. So some sad news for sure. But it seems like another celebrity death from our childhood, and so it's a little bit sad. But he certainly lived a long life, and had some adventures, as Lord of the Rings fans would say, and he's taken that last voyage now across the seas. So much love to Ian Holm and his family, and we pray for their families, that they would find some measure of peace in this, and hopefully they're doing all right.
Exactly. I hope so. I do. And rest in peace, man. Thank you for all the great movies you put out and did for all of us out there. So on a lighter note, something Robert loves to talk about, I think.
I
'Cause
do.
his
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, it is. Snyder Cut.
We're gonna talk about Star Wars, right?
No, yeah. Snyder Star Wars Cut. We'll go with that.
Oh no! Oh, ooh, that sentence. Oh no! That no Star Wars Lucasfilm. If you ever hire Zack Snyder for a Star Wars property, we're gonna have some words.
I will be famous enough now to take you out.
That's right. That's right.
So we had our first look at the Snyder Cut of Justice League coming to HBO Max. What, in a few months, right? I think, or October.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when the date is, but yeah, it was a teaser trailer which revealed very little. I think the voiceover it used was from Batman v Superman, I think, so it's not new dialogue. And we did see some new images, and mainly it's basically teasing something that we already knew was coming, which is Darkseid.
Exactly.
So, I mean, yeah, as you kind of insinuated, this isn't something I'm super excited. But hey, I mean, when it comes out, I'll watch it, and hopefully I'll enjoy it.
Exactly. I mean, it looked okay because I think the only thing that we really got to see is like an etching of Darkseid inside, like that little tomb or whatever she's looking at.
Right.
But that's it. I mean, like you said, it's nothing like mind blowing, nothing we didn't already know. So
it's a teaser. I mean, it's not. I don't think they've really shot anything new, or if they have, it's been very minimal. So I'm guessing this was a deleted scene from the original movie, and they just added that voiceover from BVS. So it was something, footage and audio that they already had. They just put it together to kind of hype up this cut, and so we'll see what it looks like when it gets here.
Exactly. So hopefully, I mean, it'll be nice to see. Again, I'm just curious on what they're doing. Are we going to see a movie? Are we just getting a series where they're just talking about scenes? That's where I'm still kind of lost, honestly, at this point.
I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a narrative series. It's not like going to be documentary style where they're talking about, and then this scene would have been this. Like they're gonna shoot footage. I don't know exactly how they're gonna do it. Obviously, they're gonna have some original footage that was cut, and then I don't know what they're going to do to fill in gaps or. Obviously, I think they budgeted like 30 million, so they're doing something with that $30 million.
Right.
And so it'll be really interesting to see what comes out of this. And I know that the talk was kind of a mini series approach, so maybe like two to four episodes.
Yeah.
To tell the story rather than one feature length movie. So I guess we'll see what it looks like exactly when it gets here. And like I said, even though I'm not necessarily looking forward to it, I will watch it, and I hope I'll enjoy it. And at the end of the day, it's characters that I love done in a way that I don't necessarily love them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe I'll enjoy this new interpretation and seeing Zack Snyder's full vision, because that was really one of my biggest problems with the Justice League movie. Even though I liked it better than Batman v Superman, because I think Batman v Superman just had tons of narrative problems.
Terrible.
Justice League very clearly was made by two different people. Like you could tell scene by scene, that was shot by someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it just didn't feel cohesive. It felt very disjointed. And even though there were some scenes that I found fun or enjoyed, overall it didn't feel like it was anyone's vision. So hopefully this one will feel a little bit more like that, and then we'll just have to judge whether or not we like that or not.
Exactly, and that's true. I mean, like you said, once Joss Whedon's a very different director than Zack Snyder, so it's interesting that they pull almost polar opposites, I would say, because I don't know why they did that. Now, don't get me wrong, Joss Whedon is really good at giving equal time to like all team members. He's really good at that. I think like if we want to see the whole team and how everyone's interacting, he's really good at directing and making sure everybody gets like their own narrative and that you want to love each character. Mm-hmm. Where Snyder, he's so dark, and it's like I don't ever think I've seen a Joss Whedon movie that's really dark and like grimy.
Yeah, I mean, Snyder is definitely, he's known for kind of, not just, I mean, dark is like people use that to mean, serious or grimy, I guess. But his movies are also notoriously kind of darkly lit, and that doesn't mean poorly lit. Like that's an aesthetic choice that he's making. But Joss Whedon is definitely known for more bright colors. Yeah. He's known for dialogue, kind of witty banter, as you mentioned, kind of equal screen time and things like that. Whereas Snyder typically will latch on to a particular narrative and he wants to tell that story.
Exactly.
And I think that again, they're very different. Zack Snyder is not exactly my cup of tea. I mean, I think that I like the Watchmen movie, but I think that's mainly because I like the Watchmen comic, and that movie is very close to the comic.
Oh yeah.
I think 300 is a pretty good movie, but that's also painted exactly like the comic. I mean, there's not a whole lot of innovation there. I think Sucker Punch is an awful movie.
Gosh, I forgot he did Sucker Punch.
He sure did. I think Man of Steel is okay.
Yeah.
There's some, I would say it's a good movie, but not necessarily a good interpretation of Superman.
Okay.
And then Batman v Superman, I think, is a mess.
Yeah.
I think it's poorly constructed from start to finish. And then, Justice League is half a vision. So, and I'm sure he's directed some other things that, are not coming to mind or that I haven't seen.
Yeah, exactly.
But, he's very hit or miss for me. And his hits are ones where he's not heavily involved with the story. Watchmen and 300, he's lifting that from the comics.
Yeah.
And so he's taking that story and kind of, interpreting it for the screen. And I think he does a good job with that. But being more heavily involved in the story elements like he was with, Sucker Punch, BVS, Man of Steel, and Justice League, I think that's where I really struggle with him. So I know there's a lot of people that love Zack Snyder, and you are allowed to. It's just like I'm allowed to not love him.
Exactly.
So I guess we'll see what happens And again, even though I'm not looking forward to it, I will see it, and I hope that I enjoy it. I'm going to try and go in with an open mind,
Exactly.
and see what happens.
And hopefully it comes out really good. I hope so.
Yeah.
And I kind of think it's a good segue into this next subject because a lot of stuff get premiered at this convention, but it's not happening.
Yes. Aww.
So no more. San Diego Comic-Con isn't happening this year, maybe. But
well, yeah, Comic-Con International.
exactly.
That's what they're calling it. Because even though there will not be a physical Comic-Con in San Diego this year, they are going to still host a web event that is going to be free to attend for anybody, where people can attend, panels and see if any of the movie studios. I mean, Hall H.
Yeah.
Is kind of famous in San Diego,
as
that's where they premiere new trailers, TV shows, movies, that kind of stuff for those fans. And so if those studios want to bring new footage or trailers, teasers, anything like that, and have those as part of this Comic-Con, they'll be available for everyone, because it is truly a web event that is free to everybody. It's Comic-Con International,
exactly.
as they're calling it. So it's very different, very interesting, and I'm interested to see whether or not this will be something that they're successful with. I think it runs from like Wednesday to Sunday next month. I think it starts on July
2nd through the 25th with the preview night on the 21st, it shows.
Yeah. So officially starting Wednesday, July 22nd, but a preview night on the 21st, and then running through the weekend. So kind of the same timeline as the usual Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And they'll have different panels and different things, guest speakers, all those things. Obviously, it'll be very different than an in-person convention experience, but it's the world we live in, and it'll be really interesting to try and there's definitely some things I'm gonna look forward to attending. They haven't really announced much of what's going to be available during this convention, but it's an interesting time for sure. I'm looking forward to it.
Exactly, same here. And I love the little teaser they have or online on their website. It's like coming soon, free parking, no lines. It's like personalized snacks, comfy chairs. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cute. I like it. So
it's one of those things where actually, I'm kind of a sports fan, and for a long time, there's a difference between live sports and sports on TV, right?
Oh yeah.
And I would say that some sports are better live,
right,
and some sports are better on TV. And like the NFL for me is one of those where it's like, I absolutely would much rather watch that on TV. The action is easier to follow. There's, the presentation is great on the TV. You can, get your own snacks. You can go to the restroom easy, like all those things. It's not expensive. Like 100%, I would much rather watch a football game on TV than go to one in person.
Exactly.
Especially at the NFL level. But, this is the first time, a convention has really done something like this, especially one of this caliber. So it'll be really interesting.
It will be. I'm excited. I'm kind of curious. I mean, I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con. I was hoping to go this year, so at least it's coming to me. So I'm happy.
Yeah, well, and they did announce as well, and I didn't send this over to you in your show in the show notes, that Star Wars Celebration was canceled for this year.
Yes, it was.
And just canceled, and it usually runs every 2 years, so it looks like we won't get a Star Wars Celebration again until 2022.
Yep, I saw that too, and I was like, oh, there goes that one. With Anaheim shut down.
But, probably, I think next year, depending on all of this stuff, Disney has their other convention, D23. They usually alternate that with Star Wars Celebration. So, we might get some Star Wars stuff at D23 next year.
Maybe. That'd be kind of cool to see. So, I mean, we got 2 other things, though.
Yeah.
Which one, or what do you think? Which one do you want to go with?
You're the one looking at the show notes. You do what you want to do.
Well, let's do this one first because it's video game news and it just came out, which hopefully I'm going to go pick it up today and actually play it. But The Last of Us 2 came out back on a couple days ago on Friday, I believe it was. It came out, and when it first got released, when everything was first happening, it had a rating of 1.8 out of 5. And basically, there was like 50 reviews or 60 reviews, and pretty much everyone was giving it 1 star. There were a couple of 5 stars here and there. The game, if you've never played it, it essentially follows an apocalypse to where I guess the best way to say it is a fungus has taken over, and it takes over your body. It essentially turns into a kind of what they call clickers, but they're like zombies, if you want to think of it that way, who go around trying to spread their spores to infect other creatures or other humans and essentially kill off the entire human race. It is based off of a real fungus that affects ants, and it does the same thing. It takes over the ant's body, makes the ant do whatever it wants, climbs up high, and then shoots the spores out to infect other ants. And that's essentially where the concept came from. And the game follows Joel, who, in the very beginning scenes, spoiler alert, I mean, it's been a couple years, but in the beginning, he does lose his daughter. It starts in Austin, Texas, and it follows him, and he's the first essential wave of what's going on. His daughter gets killed by the military. And then the next time we see him, it's years later. He's basically like a scavenger. He goes and he just goes and how should I put it? He basically just like does like, hey, we need you to take this here, take this there, like a hot shot runner, I guess you could say. And eventually he runs into Ellie, who's a girl that they want to try to take over to another group of people to keep her safe. You find out she's actually immune to the spores and cannot get infected. So as the game progresses, it goes very dark. It talks on a lot of different storylines. The LGBTQ. It actually talks a little about, I guess, what happens with a man left alone with a little girl. I'll put it that way, and the stuff that could go to. And it gets really, really dark, and what Ellie has to do to save her own life in that situation. So I really recommend playing the game, the first one, if you never did. It is very good storytelling. I expect to kind of have some scary moments and some crying moments, I'd say. But The Last of Us 2 is, like I said, getting bashed. People are just saying it sucks. It's not a great game. And right now, if you go to like Metacritic, everything is just basically they're bashing it. They're saying it's not great. It's not fun. Blah blah blah. The story does follow more Ellie this time as she's older now. Joel's kind of not like he's a senior, but you can tell he looks older now. He's probably was in his 30s or 40s. Now he's more like maybe 40s or 50s. The game right now. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I mean, sequels are notoriously hard to nail. I mean, it's there's only whether it's movies or TV shows or comics or video games. You have this massive success with a first original story, and then you try and come back. People want more, and there's always that challenge of how do you provide them something that is new and fresh, but also has enough elements of the original that people really like it. There's successes out there like The Empire Strikes Back, but then there's plenty of failures out there like. I think the original The Dark Knight Returns, is like this landmark comic, and then many years later, Frank Miller came back and wrote a sequel to it, and people were like, "What the hell is this?" So it's hard. I mean,
it is.
And there's always that clamor to get more. It's we want more of this story. We want more of these characters or whatever, but it can be really difficult to build on original content in such a way that still maintains its originality and freshness, but also provides you enough of a window that people connect to it. So that's really hard to do. And I don't know. I mean, I didn't play the original Last of Us. I won't play this one either. But hopefully there's some people out there that enjoy it.
I mean, so here's the thing. So like, I'm glad you touched on all that, because you're right. It is hard to make those sequels, and there's a lot of stuff they talk about. One of the things I did mention, you don't really know that Ellie is a lesbian until you download some DLC where they kind of go into her backstory. You kind of assume, oh, she's just a little girl, blah blah blah. But the game does touch that she is a lesbian. So right now, on Metacritic, as of, I believe, yesterday, they had a 3.4 out of 10 score from users, and a 9.4 or 9.5 out of 10 from critics. So some people are
Wow.
like, this is just, the critics are not going to be in touch with the mainstream audience anymore. So to me, that's a big drastic difference. And that you see that in movies. And I'm sure you've seen that
Sure.
with a lot of the movies
Yeah.
out there that
Hmm.
critics love it and the users hate it, or vice versa. Users love it, critics hate it.
Yeah.
So some people are saying that that's part of it. But what other people are wondering, because some of these reviews came out within hours of the game coming out, so they were thinking that maybe they're just trying to bash the game for what it touches on. It does touch more on the LGBT stuff, with Ellie being, like I said, being a lesbian. So
Hmm.
some people are wondering if maybe they're bashing the game for that. A lot of them are leaking spoilers out there, so people don't go buy it. They're trying to say on the reviews like, "Oh, spoiler free," or they're trying to say, there's spoilers ahead. So they're trying to talk about the plot and the turns on it, and some people don't like where they went with the plot turns. So there's a whole different thing of like no one understands why
Sure.
they're doing that. So they're trying to see about like how they can do
Right.
the scoring better, because some of these reviews came out within hours, and the game
Right.
itself is 25 to 30 hours. So if you in 5 hours said, "Oh, this is a crap game," you didn't play the whole game. You played maybe 5 hours, and that's not counting if
Yeah.
you ran off and did like other stuff while you were just chilling.
Well, and I would encourage everyone. Number one, always, if you have interest in something, go experience it for yourself and make your own determination whether you like it or not. If you want to go see a movie, if it looks interesting to you and it gets, terrible reviews, go see it anyways and find out if you like it. And the other thing that I would always recommend is, there's always going to be those properties where you're on the fence about, where you're like, I don't know if I want to go see this. I don't know if I want to play this. So let me look and see what other people have been saying. And I always encourage people, find a few critics within that medium. So whether it's, video games or TV or movies, whatever it is, find a few critics that you generally agree with,
Yeah.
and find a few that you generally disagree with, and read through their reviews. And that should give you a good sense. Maybe if all the people that you generally agree with are really, really enjoying it, then, it doesn't really matter what other people are saying. You're saying, well, I usually like what these people say. Or, vice versa, where maybe it's the people you don't normally agree with, and it's good to get a different perspective on it.
Yep.
And you can, start to look at it, and maybe there's aspects that they really like or aspects that they don't really like. And you can kind of, figure out for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe I do want to give this a try. So again, if it's something you have interest in, go experience it for yourself. Don't let
Exactly.
anybody tell you not to do it. And if it's something you're on the fence about, seek out some opinions of people that you actually care about, rather than just, oh, it got a bad rating. I mean, there's, movies out there, whether they're good movies or bad movies, I always like to say enjoyment of a movie is subjective,
Yep.
right? There are objective qualities about every movie where you go like, that's shot well, or it has good dialogue, or it has a good clean story. Those are like objective things about a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But there are plenty of movies that have, like really bad script writing or bad dialogue or bad that we love. I mean, you keep bringing up Starship Troopers. That is not an objectively good movie. But if you enjoy it, then you enjoy it. Like, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Like, and don't let anyone take your enjoyment away from you. If you like something, like it, love it, and talk about it. That's what being a geek is about. If you love something, just love it. Don't worry about what other people say.
I would like to point out we have now talked about Starship Troopers in every episode at least once.
This time I brought it up, and even though I think that movie is bad and I didn't really enjoy it, you do, and so love it, Aaron. I'm still gonna make fun of you because you're Aaron. I won't make fun of anyone else. If anyone else that loves Starship Trooper, drop it in the comics. I will not make fun of you. My vitriol is for Aaron only.
I'm gonna make him watch all 5 movies, and he'll see all of it. He'll see all of it. I mean, the other thing too, I want to kind of add this before we kind of jump off this soapbox with it, because I agree with everything you're saying. If you like it, you're gonna like it. And here's the other thing that's kind of interesting, which I was reading one article, and it was kind of made me think. So, in its entire lifetime of The Last of Us Part 1, the first game, it had 9,000 reviews on Metacritic, right? And just to compare, like, how much that is, Grand Theft Auto 5, which is probably one of the most popular video games of all time, got 20,000 users to review it back when it first came out. So, or 20.
About half.
Yeah. So it kind of gives you an idea, like, how many people have voted for that first one, and how many people voted for Grand Theft Auto? Already, since the weekend has come and passed now, Last of Us Part 2 already has over 5,000 people who reviewed it, and it's only been out for a weekend. So it's like, what? Wait a minute, 5,000 people? That's kind of interesting to me. Like, why is that number so high all of a sudden? I mean, maybe people talk too much.
Yeah, I would imagine there's a lot of people that rush right out and get it, and they're gonna provide their thoughts right away.
Exactly.
The earlier you get your review in, the more likely someone's going to read it. So that's not necessarily that surprising to me, but there have been campaigns in the past, and I don't know if this. I'm not trying to speculate.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the case with this movie, but there have been campaigns in the past before movies like Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel or the new Ghostbusters movie that came out. Even before they came out, there were campaigns about how you shouldn't go see these movies. They're terrible movies, whatever. And it's like you haven't even seen it. You're just you just don't want people to see this movie because you apparently don't like female empowerment, or I don't know. I mean, I'm not,
I think that's what they were getting at too. Like you said, is it because it's going to push the LGBT stuff or what? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
but
that was
again,
that one.
If you loved the first one, go play this one and decide for yourself. If you didn't play the first one, maybe go back and play that one and see if you enjoy it. I mean, I don't know.
It'll be good. It'll be fun. I know I'm going to be playing it in a little while.
Cool.
So, and the last bit of news, more movie news. Kingsman dropped a new trailer.
It did. The Kingsman. So I think it's a Mark Millar comic.
I want to say you're right.
And I know Matthew Vaughn did the first two movies, so Kingsman: The Secret Service and then Kingsman: The Golden Circle. And I thought the first movie was really cool, and I thought the second movie was kind of lacking. It wasn't my favorite. But there is a third movie that's now coming out that is like a prequel. Yes. So this is actually set in kind of World War I-ish era, actually. I don't know. Did you see the trailer?
Nope, I haven't seen it yet.
Ooh. So, are we gonna watch it right now? Are you gonna live react to it?
Yeah, here, I'm gonna play it right now. I have it pulled up.
Oh man.
So let's see.
My flock. This will not be a war of heroes. Nations will slaughter each other while we get rich. This is going to be fun.
Oh, nice.
You cannot keep me locked away as the world burns.
The truth is, the world is ruled by corruption and greed.
We must do something. Certainly.
Ooh.
We are the first independent intelligence agency. Refined but brutal. Civilized but merciless.
Welcome to the club.
Very clever. It's time
What the?
for fuel.
That's supposed to be Rasputin, right? I'm guessing.
Yep.
Of revolution. Yes, my shepherd. Welcome, Englishman.
Rasputin, your reputation precedes you.
Let's end this as gentlemen. After all,
I still love that quote.
Yep.
Why is it that boys are always so messy?
So if it's going,
Yeah.
he's out of knife. That was kind of funny. I like it.
Yeah,
So is it following Eggsy's uncle or anybody? Because if it's World War One, they should all be like really old by that point.
So I think this is truly like the formation of the Kingsmen And so I don't know that there's going to be any connection to Eggsy within this movie. It might just be a true standalone prequel.
Okay.
I know Matthew Vaughn, he has talked about he wants to do a third one in Eggsy's story.
Oh,
So they
okay.
wanted to do this one and then one more movie to wrap that up. I don't know if they're going to do that. This is a Fox property. So now it's owned by Disney because Disney purchased Fox. So this movie's actually been delayed a couple times. It was actually
Yeah.
originally supposed to come out, I think, last year, but
Yeah.
now it's scheduled to come out in a couple months. It did say only in theaters, so obviously their plan is to release it in theaters. And actually, I think that's been kind of in agreement with a lot of the movies that were purchased from Fox, is that they actually have to release them in theaters. I saw that about like New Mutants, because there was a lot of people that were like, why did they just release it directly on Disney Plus? Well, actually, part of the agreement when they purchased Fox was that they had to release that movie in theaters. And even after it gets pulled from theaters and it's on a streaming service, I think it's like contracted to go to HBO Max first. So technically it's not even like they're not even allowed to put it on Disney Plus.
That's true. Yeah.
But with this movie in particular, The Kingsman, it looks interesting. I like Matthew Vaughn. He did the first Kick-Ass movie. He did X-Men First Class. He obviously has done the first two Kingsman movies. And so I'm looking forward to this. Is mostly hit for me. And so I'm hoping that this one it looks fun. I like Ray Fiennes. I think he seems like a good fit for this, and so I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I mean, I love the series. Like you said, the second film was kind of weak. I'll give you that. Felt like it was a little too over the top for me sometimes.
Yeah.
But did have some good scenes. The mine scene still gets me, where he's singing. That still bothers me. But this one looks good. I'm liking the humor. It's kind of subtle, kind of funny.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. It's caught my attention on this trailer for sure.
Yeah,
so
and kind of these movies have known for being kind of hyper violent.
Yeah.
And certainly kind of over the top.
Yeah.
So now that it's it doesn't seem like it's been sanitized at all, but it is owned by Disney. So we'll
that's
see
true.
if if it kind of fits in, if they're going to still allow them to make that final movie in the series. Obviously, it's going to depend on how much money this movie makes.
Oh yeah.
Because the first one made a lot of money, but the second one, I think it still was profitable, but it wasn't as well received. So we're about to find out if this third one gets the same level of hype, if people enjoy it or not. So
I hope so. I really do. So looks like for the second film, for instance, it was budgeted at 104 million. Box office total was 410 million.
Yeah.
So it brought them money. So hopefully they keep doing this, and I'm excited. I'm ready to see it. I love the franchise. I've loved the comic. Like you said, it was Mark Millar did it, and it's a good comic. I love it. If you never got to read it, though, unfortunately the movies do kind of go way differently than the first comics, but I mean, I still enjoyed it.
Sure.
So
that's what they do.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. But I think that kind of wraps it up for us, guys, with a lot of the news. I mean, there's a lot of... Oh, no, wait, you have a question, you said, right?
Right, yeah, there's one question. So that does wrap up the news stuff.
Yeah.
So wanted to get one question in just because it was Father's Day related. So Kit Kat Torres asked, since we are dads...
Okay.
And, this was Father's Day, she wanted to know, is there a comic dad, stepdad, guardian, any sort of parental type of influence that we like or identify with? So before I let you answer, I just want to say that for the record, if you've been watching us for a while, you know that one of us knows who the best superhero in the world is, and the other one likes Spider-Man. And with that being said, Batman is the worst parent. So Batman's the worst. Like, don't. I love Batman, but he is not a good role model as a parent. So I saw this question a couple days ago, so I've had a chance to think about it a little bit. But I want to put it on you. Are there any comic book dads, or I'm going to go with like superhero dads that kind of resonate with me? So for you, any that are jumping to mind?
Nothing that really like jumps to mind. Like, they actually have to be a dad, or is it just that they're
No,
in the
I mean,
comic book?
a
Okay.
father figure I think would work.
So there's one, and oh man, I guess he's technically a comic too. I mean, Spider-Man I like because of the morals he teaches. So I would say him first, obviously, because of the whole, great power comes great responsibility. And then if you didn't know, if anyone, I mean, you might have known this, but back in I think the mid to early '90s, they did a comic book and it was just like a little insert at the end of the comic book. Peter goes and sees this I think it's a little boy, and he talks to him, and he just has a conversation because this is supposed to be his biggest Spider-Man fan. He always writes Daily Bugle the letters, and they talk. And as Spider-Man leaves, the little boy asks, "Can I see you? Can I know who you are?" And he hesitates for a second, and then he just takes the mask off. And he shows it's Peter Parker. He's been taking all the pictures, and the little boy laughs. He's like, "Oh my God, JJ doesn't know," and it's like, no, he's never known.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm like, why did Peter show himself to a random kid? Well, he swings out, and the last panel is him leaving over the fence, and he's at a hospital in the terminally ill ward. The little boy's gonna die. He has like leukemia or cancer, and he doesn't have long to live. And Spider-Man's essentially crying at the end of that. And I'm like, there's no other superhero in the world that would have done that. Spider-Man is like one of the only ones that would go as himself, as Spider-Man, and then reveal himself to this child so he has hope. So I would say Spider-Man, and then technically, because he's a comic book character, because he comes from manga, Vegeta. I love Vegeta. I think as they made him into a father kind of person, he was always that standoffish kind of guy, but then he becomes like a father. And even the anime itself touches on it, where he is training his son Trunks to become like this great warrior, and his way to train him is spar with me, and if you can land a punch on me, I will take you to the playground for an hour. And
Nice.
so they're sparring, and he punches Vegeta, and Vegeta just knocks the crap out of him because he's like, "You hit me," and he hit him back. And Trunks is like, "You didn't say you were gonna hit me," and he's like, "I never said I wasn't either." And he's like, "Stop crying, we're going to the park." But he's like proud and mad all at once.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, he landed the punch when he shouldn't have, and
Sure.
I'm like, I like Vegeta because I think he's one of those great hidden dads. Like, if you watch the subtlety, you'll see he's a good dad.
Yeah. So we both know that my comic knowledge is not exceptionally broad. I'm like, I like comics. Most of the comics I've read are Batman comics, and as I've already mentioned, Batman not a good role model, not a good dad.
Brings in kids to bad situations.
Alfred tries, but it doesn't usually succeed. But so I wanted to stick with some movies, and
Okay.
I thought of a few. And so number one, the first one I kind of thought of was Mr. Incredible from The Incredibles.
Okay.
I
can see that.
I love his journey and arc in those movies, both of them. He cares about his family, he cares about his kids. He certainly he's trying to be a hero, but at the end of the day, his family is the most important thing to him. And even like especially in Incredibles 2, that whole sequence where he's trying to help his daughter, but he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so his wife is off being the hero, and he's kind of the stay-at-home dad. And like that whole storyline just was great to me. He's trying to help his son with his math homework, and he's trying to help his daughter with her problems with a boy, and like he's stumbling and he's failing, but he's trying. He's doing everything that he can. And obviously it's really really powerful when kind of at the end of that arc he has the conversation with his teenage daughter, and he's like, he's kind of admitting that he failed, and they have that connection moment. And so I thought that was really cool. So that's one. Another one that I really like, because of the relationship, and it's short and sweet, but it's Logan in the movie Logan, his relationship with X-23.
Okay.
And their journey of, and his advice to her, you don't have to become what they say that you are. You don't have to be violent. You don't have to be a weapon. Live your life and be who you are.
Yep.
And of course, that moment at the end as he's dying and she calls him Papa, and you're like, oh my God. Like, it's heartbreaking.
It is.
And so I like that one a lot. And then the last one is the most recent one, and so I guess spoiler alert for Endgame: Tony Stark. I mean, like,
I'll give
he's
you
a
that,
great
yeah.
he's a great dad in that movie, and of course pays the ultimate sacrifice at the end, not only for his daughter but for all the children of humanity.
Yep.
And a very good portrayal of a dad. So those are the three that kind of leapt to mind for me as the ones that I really have enjoyed in comic book or geeky media, if you will. So
I could see that. That makes sense. I mean, those are good choices. I mean, I honestly forgot all about Mr. Incredible until you said that, and I forgot he did struggle so hard to try to do everything. So those are some great choices.
Math is math. Why did they change math?
Oh, when he tried to do the long math and all that. Oh my gosh, I forgot all about that. See, like, I love how you said that. I don't know if I can turn this off while we're chatting, but like my chair. Let's see if it'll turn off. I'm gonna lose my background, but my Spider-Man chair.
Oh, yep, there it is.
So,
Spider-Man.
But like this was blocking it the whole time, so I was like, oh well, can't see it. But yeah, those were some great choices, dude. I love them. I like all those as well.
So. Yeah, so happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, to all the moms that are assuming both roles. Happy Father's Day to you too. We definitely shout out everybody. It's incredible. I know you kind of fill in both roles as well.
Yeah.
So
try.
Happy Father's Day and Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. Happy Father's Day to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
On that note, I think we pretty much wrapped it up. We've been here for a little while, guys, so I hope you enjoyed just this new segment of everything. If you want to see more, definitely check out our YouTube page and check out everything at Official GYGO. And of course, next week it'll be back to normal. We just took the Sunday off just to chill with our families, so everything's back to normal. Robert has to bring me a present on Sunday because it is my birthday when we record, so just stating.
Oh. Well, as soon as you start paying me for my contract.
I mean, I give you $1. It's only a penny an episode, remember? So I was giving you $1.
That's fine.
I'll give you that $1.
You still haven't paid me for my. You still haven't paid me. So
I will bring $1 on Sunday for you, sir.
Awesome.
But on that note, guys, stay geeky, enjoy everything. I hope you enjoyed all the news, and check everything out on Official GYGO. Have a great one.
Bye.